Today, we have the pleasure of welcoming Kelly Lynn Adams, who is an amazing woman, a badass leader, an amazing business and leadership coach, and a speaker. Welcome, Kelly.
Hello, and I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. So glad to have you here. So, Kelly, some people say that coaches are like professional cheerleaders. They're kind of like a little bit of waste of money, nice, but not essential. What's your proof that paying you actually saves time and makes money?
Yes, so we get down to the dirty details here. So we are not cheerleaders. We'll cheer you on, but we want to see results. So that's what, even my background, born and raised Jersey girl. So that's what we go for.
Thank you. Thank you. I have another question for you. So what's one tip you give that's so simple that small business owners just ignore it, but actually that would triple results if they followed it?
Embody your desired identity now. So think of your future self, the future version self, and I want everyone to pull their future into their present. And that is a game changer.
Perfect. Thank you. And you know what? Biggest problems is for smaller business owners in particular, is they're kind of drowning in tasks. There's a lot to do every single day. So what's a simple daily habit you recommend that actually saves time and gets results?
So I love habit stacking, and that is like a non-negotiable, and also raising your standards. So think of when your head hits the pillow at the end of the day, what is 1 to 3 things that are non-negotiable that is going to save you time and make you money?
Thank you. And another question. So networking can be such a pain for some owners. So it's time. Some of us are shy, maybe not necessarily me, but some people, it's difficult to come in and network. So can you give us a practical tip how to make connections that actually lead to clients without kind of wasting hours?
So the first thing here is just look at the types of environments that you're putting yourself into, what groups. I think that is the most important because if you're in the wrong groups or in the wrong rooms, you are going to get the wrong leads and they may not turn into clients. Also, what I will say is asking your current clients for referrals. That's the easiest and quickest way. So that's what I would say. It's more of that. And also, the fortune is in the follow up if you are in the right rooms and connecting with the right people.
Thank you. I'm a big fan of yours, Kelly, so I follow you and your channels. And I know that one of the key promises you make, you promise resilience to build resilience and leadership skills. So, having said that, what's the most uncomfortable truth that you tell clients that makes them actually take actions? So, what is your kick-ass advice to your clients?
Yep. So I love this one, and I'm going to be real harsh, but you're going to die one day, and we don't
Oh,
know when that day is. So, and I've dealt with death in the recent 2 years, so I'm very close to this conversation. So I would say take your age from however old you are today, subtract the age that you think you're going to leave this earth, this physical body,
mm,
whatever it is, 90s, hundreds, whatever you want to live to, 80s. Subtract that. That's how many summers you will have left. Expected. So we don't know what's going to be unexpected. So that's why I always like to tell people is like, how many summers do you have left? And what do you want to do with the time that you have remaining?
harsh, but great advice. I actually love it. We all have days where I feel stuck and just unmotivated. You just feel frustrated with your business. You lost a client, something is not moving forward the way you were expecting it to.
Mhm.
So can you maybe give us advice on a realistic mindset tweak that actually gets us moving again, kind of gets us motivated, gets us in that grind again?
So I love this question because we all feel stuck at some point, right? So what is one thing that you can do better today than yesterday? So it's just saying, okay, what can I do better today than yesterday? And this just relieves a lot of the pressure because you hear the, oh, get 1% better, but what does that really mean? So just saying, okay, what is the one thing, 1 or 3 thing that I could do, things I could do better, today than I did yesterday?
Love it.
Mhm.
if I was a business owner, well, I am a business owner. I came to you for coaching advice and said, I only have 15 minutes a day. I'm very busy. I can't really do much, but I only have 15 minutes a day I can spend on improving myself and my company. So, what would you make me do? How would you advise me to spend those 15 minutes?
So back to like habit stacking, I would say have a ritual. And the ritual doesn't have to be, like you said, 2 hours, 15 minutes. So it can't be 2 hours. So dedicating 1 to 5 things, and I'll give you a list of 1 to 5 things that you can do. And it's really personal. Number one is to review your goals every single day. So review them, write them. The subconscious likes repetition. So from a neuroscientific perspective, that's really important. Number two, move your body. I don't care how, just move your body and get outside. A lot of us tend to be at our computers, heads down on our phones, all the things. So that's important. Three is education, like learning something every day or once a week. Four is being surrounded by community. That's so important because isolation is a thing, whether that's virtually, non-virtually, in person. And then the last thing is needle moving activities in your business. So that is attending events in the right environments, reach outs, posting, sharing on social media, making offers, getting into conversations. These are just critical. They're just needle moving activities. So those are I would say the smorgasbord things that you can do. And everyone's in different seasons of their life and their business. So what is most important here is just picking 1 or 2 things and being consistent about it.
Great advice. I'm actually going to write it down and implement some of it. Thank you. So things are heating up here. I'm going to be asking you very straightforward questions now.
Yeah.
So you have 3 questions left. I apologize in advance. But my next question for you is, as a business coach, you talk about scaling business, and obviously it's part of what you do. That's why people hire you. Everyone wants growth, personal growth, career growth, and other types of growth in their life. Have you ever had a client implement your advice and actually totally flop? And what did you tell them? Coming back to you saying, hey, you gave me all this advice and it was a disaster. So how did you, if it ever happened, how did you cope with it? What did you say?
Yeah. So a lot of what I see in my business is people that thinking they can do it all, and they can, right?
Mhm.
They can wear the 10 hats, they can do all the things, 100%, men and women.
Mhm.
And what I like to say is you can do it all, but do you want to do it all? Because at a certain time, as you scale, you're not going to want to do it all. And your zone of genius gets smaller and smaller. So my thing with this is delegation and support, which you are familiar with, and having the right people in their zone of genius doing the things that are not in your zone of genius, even though we know you can do it. And that is the key to getting to whatever other income bracket you're in or revenue bracket. It's so, so important. There's a book that some are familiar with, 10X is better than 2X. They talk about this as well, but delegation and support is the most common thing I see when people come to me as they're scaling and they're not delegating and getting support to the
Mhm.
degree that they need it.
Okay. Now, that is a very elegantly answered question. Coming back to the original question, any of your clients ever flopped based on your advice? Maybe early in your career. I know it's uncomfortable to admit, but has that
Yeah.
ever happened? And can you share an example with us?
100%. Yeah. I mean, there's been so many times where either they didn't make the revenue that they, came in and they wanted to do, or their business wasn't, I don't know, at the right state. I mean, there's so many examples, but it comes down to it has to be willing. Like, I can't do the push-ups for you. So in the upfront conversation, before I take any client on, I'm looking for a couple of things of, are you willing? Are you coachable? Am I going to have to pull you to the finish line? Because then I just won't take you on. So the flopping or the not getting the results is a couple of things, but we'll know that right away. In the beginning, as a new coach, I wasn't, I was just like, I don't know. Yeah, I'll just take anybody on. But it
Yeah.
really comes down to like people that are willing. And because if you're doing the work, you might not get the tangible, outcome that you want, like desired, but you're going to get there. So I don't know if, I mean, there's tons of, I can't think of one right now, but there's tons of examples that come to mind.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you for your honesty.
Hmm.
Because, many of us are trying to exude certain image that we are professional and we never fail. But I think the biggest quality any professional can have is actually accept mistakes, accept that you're not perfect, and actually move on from it and actually support other people in being acceptable of the imperfections as well. So it's great. So he thinks are heating up again. The fire is coming up.
Yeah.
So, what is the weirdest or most ridiculous advice a client ever came to you for? And did it actually help their business? Because I can imagine I have some funny stories in my business. I imagine you would have some as well.
Yeah, so I'll flip it. I don't know if a client's ever come to the weirdest. I have given weird advice.
Tell
I
me more.
Yeah, I've given weird advice. So one story is, this woman came to me and she was on her book tour and she wanted to really get out there, right, in the media and the press, and she wasn't getting responses from this one editorial publishing house that she wanted to be in a write up. She wanted them to write her up. So I basically said, okay, how can we get their attention? So she was like, I don't know. I've been, emailing them. And I was like, okay, great. So let's think of something different. So she had the person's contact information that she was pitching. And I said, do a little investigation work on this person, do a little stalking activity. So she found out that this woman loved cupcakes. And basically they were in New York. The company was in New York. So I said, okay, great. Guess what we're gonna do? So I had her send 3 dozen cupcakes to the office with this
Mhm.
woman's name on it. Got
Mhm.
her attention. She got
Oh,
the write up. So again, thinking outside the box. And I love this question of like the weirdness, because today we have to get people's attention and it might not be the same as it normally is with all the noise going on.
yeah.
Another client came to me and she was like, I'm going to be on a national TV show in like 10 days. And I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. Congrats. And she's like, I need your like media help. And I'm like, well, I'm not a media coach. I'm not a PR coach. I'm not any of those types of coaches. And I said, but she's like, I need your help because I know you've been on TV. Now, Anna, if you go on my website and look at my TV segments, oh my gosh, they're like a flop. So talk about flop. And there's a lot of cringe moments. So I was like, oh wow, she wants to hire me. She thinks those are good. So I was like, I can help you. However, I can recommend you PR and media coaches. But she's like, no, 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 I want you to help me. So I helped her in 7 days. We nailed down what she was going to say, how she was going to present, all of that, and she did the segment beautifully. So she was on Good Morning America and it came
Oh,
out
wow.
amazing, right? So again, not weird, a little bit different. She trusted me and I did the best. And that is also another story of she didn't flop. I thought I was like giving her coaching that might make her flop, but she did beautiful. So
Oh, wow. That's a great story. I love it. Thank you. And if someone sent me cupcakes, that would definitely get my attention too, or any kind of chocolate for that matter. So if anyone is listening, wants a meeting with you, sends me chocolate. I like dark chocolate with almonds. Great. But it sounds like you're wearing many hats. You're not just a traditional coach who is coaching you to come up with ideas. You are actively actually suggesting ideas based on your previous experience. I love that. So that's value added for me. So my last question is the meanest question of all. If I hire you and my business doesn't grow, are you gonna blame me or can I blame you? Or is it all just, soft accountability where coaches just support, we implement, if everything goes well, you take responsibility for it. If everything goes wrong, then it's my fault. How do you feel about it?
So, two things. I say it's radical responsibility on both sides,
Hmm?
right? So, similar to what I said in the last question, it's like, I can't do your push ups for you. I can give you the plan. Same thing like with a nutrition coach. If you're not releasing weight, it's like, well, the plan is there, the food and the exercise are there. What's not go right? And there's also times where the plan needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
So I would say it's both radical responsibility on both ends and just having agreements and really being open and upfront, I think, on both ends. Same thing in relationships and partnerships of romantic kind or business kind, having those conversations, front and center, and just being getting on the same page. And then also when you're in the relationship and in the container, from a coaching perspective, it's like, okay, what's working, what's not working, also giving and getting feedback along the process. Just because you signed on a client or you found a coach, that's the work is just started. Kind of like in a marriage. When you get married, it's like, oh yeah, great, but the work is actually just beginning in a marriage. So
Mhm.
same thing here. And so I think both parties take radical responsibility, and then
Mhm.
seeing, it's all about communication and adjusting the plan if needed. So that's, I don't know if that really answered your question.
Not really. So I'll ask a follow-up question.
Yeah, yeah.
So, do you actually set tangible goals? So, when a client comes to you and says, I want to grow my business, do you actually say, is it 5% or is it 10%? And you become accountable for if you commit and say, yeah, I think I can get you to 5% if you follow my advice. Of course, they need to do their part as well. But do you actually agree tangible goals? Because I find very often, you get to a marketing agency, for example, and they say that we'll do this and that. It's all about input. We will advertise Google, we do Google ads for you, social media. And I'm like, it all sounds great, but what will be the outcome? How many leads will I get? How many new clients? And 95% of agencies, coaches are like, well, it's difficult to quantify. And it's, you're asking me for a lot of money. So would you agree actually tangible specific goals? And of course, set some parameters to go with it, saying, of course, if you are not doing your part, you may not be able to achieve it. But I
Mhm.
feel comfortable with committing to 10% or whatever it is.
Yes, 100%. So absolutely. So we agreed to even income rates or revenue percentages or amounts or even amounts of clients. And actually, in one of my programs, I remember I guaranteed this once. I said, you stay in that container until you hit the goals that we reach, like even if it takes a year. So yes, because I'm very much on the tangible now. Some things will get in the way. Like for example, like I've had like two deaths in my life. So like when grief hits, right, or something happens, so that can throw someone off. Now, and I
Mhm.
don't know other coaches, I do work with the person because that's lifing. So I do, like in my accountability, my one-on-one and my closer containers, I will work, because to me, it is important for my clients to get results because that's
Yeah.
just my company's name, my reputation. So, but yes, I do set tangible goals if the client wants, and then we just work towards that. Now, if some tangible goals will require outsourcing, like if they're like, okay, Kelly, I want to get to $1 million a year, but they're doing everything on their own, I'm going to give my recommendation being like, well, you're going to need X, Y, and Z and this is one way you can get to it. And I will be very upfront and honest and say, from my experience, and not saying it can't be done, but there may be some other elements that are needed within that income or revenue goal. But yes,
Mhm.
set tangible goals. And I will say it's tangible and intangible because sometimes the inner does affect the outer. But yes, 100%. I'm not afraid to do it. I'm not afraid to be like, let's go.
Okay. I love your confidence. Okay, I think it was a complete no bullshit interview. I loved your answers. As I expected, you are a very straight shooter, so it was great to spend these 10-15 minutes with you, Kelly. Last question. It's
Yeah.
a bonus question because I really enjoy talking to you. I'm sure people would love to know a little bit more about you. So, who is Kelly Lynn Adams? Who is Kelly? Tell us a little bit more about you and your life and people in your life, pets in your life, something no
Yeah.
one knows.
Oh gosh, something no one
Uh-huh.
knows. There's a lot no one knows. I'm very, I love the glam. I love the fashion world. That's where I came from. I'm type A all the way.
Mhm.
And there's a softer side of me that some people don't get to see. You can kind of see it in my social, but very big into family.
Mhm.
Very much, I love pets, but I don't have any. believe it or not. And yeah, I'm just a big softie inside, even though sometimes I will put the resting bitch face on. I had a coach be like, "You have resting bitch face in all your pictures." I'm like, "Do I really?" Um, but I'm soft at heart, but don't cross my path because I'm very protective of my family. And
Mhm,
yeah, and just as the years go on, I think what a lot of people don't know is that I really do value like family and relationships.
mhm,
So, and I don't really bring that so much to social.
mhm,
But I would say that's it. I mean, there's so much. We could spend hours here, Anna, and talk about all the different things. But also, I will say, I mean, I had a speech impediment growing up. I was
mhm,
very shy growing up.
mhm,
A lot of things that people don't know, that, and now I'm like blabbing all the time. But I was very shy with the speech impediment,
mhm,
bullied as a young girl tremendously. And
mhm.
so, yeah, those are a few things I don't really talk a lot about.
Sorry to hear that. Actually, I will ask a quick follow-up question if you don't
Yeah.
mind. I noticed on LinkedIn recently you have like glamour shoots. You are, I'm sure people after this interview, they will go and look you up and then find those photos. Some of them are very revealing photos. I mean, you're a
Hmm.
beautiful woman. I love those photos. So
Hmm.
what is the idea behind it? How did you
Yeah.
get them done? What was the purpose? And I mean, you look stunning in those photos. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, and
Powerful
it's a great
and
it's a
powerful.
and powerful. Yeah, it's a great question. And actually, one of my clients asked me that. She's
Huh?
like, "Wow, these are really revealing pictures." And
Mhm,
she's like, how did you get the confidence to do it? And are you worried about any of the deals or the conversations with corporations and all that?" And I said, "That's exactly why I did it." So a
mhm,
lot of this work, Anna, right, as you know, coaches, is like we're putting ourselves out there in the fire.
mhm,
So I get to be, right, a stand for other women, to really, you can be professional, you can be sexy, you can really just show it off. And I love this quote. It's like what you give power to has power over you.
love
So
it.
there was a time where I was like, oh, if I'm revealing too much, I may, the deals may not come through, or I might lose clients. And okay, but that's a part of authenticity for me that I really wanted to display in those pictures.
Mhm,
I haven't lost any clients, I haven't lost any deals, and maybe that will be different in the future. However, it's like I want to do something, and I'm not going to let anything or allow anything to hold back, my power. And yes, there's certain things and times for places, but I just, I was like, no, I want this photo shoot to reveal that for people.
I love it. I find it so inspiring as well. And I love that someone like you, who is, a public figure and does have something to lose, is just unapologetically yourself. I really enjoy seeing your photos. Congratulations.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much, Kelly, for being here with us today. As expected, you are just fantastic and amazing. So I love you.
Thank you.
And hopefully, stay tuned. We may invite Kelly at some point back. Send me your questions for Kelly so we can definitely get her roasted a little bit more at some time, maybe at some point next year. Thank you, Kelly, and have a wonderful time.
Thank you, Anna.